The engagement ring struck the marble floor before anyone understood what Dante Marino had done. It landed between Bianca Ricci and the Chuppy nanny she had ordered removed from the ballroom. 300 guests stared in silence. Outside the towering windows of the Marino mansion, rain swept across Lake Michigan and lightning flashed above the dark water. Inside, crystal chandeliers glowed over politicians, judges, business owners, and men whose names were never spoken near police stations. In the center of them all stood Olivia Hart. Her cheeks burned beneath the attention. One of her arms supported the crying baby against her chest. Her other hand protected the back of the tiny head. The pale blue dress she had borrowed from another member of the household pulled tightly around her full figure. But Olivia refused to lower her gaze. Bianca stood several feet away in a silver gown that shimmered like polished ice. She had spent the past 5 minutes mocking Olivia in front of the guests. She had questioned her manners. She had insulted her appearance. She had called her unsuitable to care for a child who belonged to one of the most powerful families in Chicago. Then she had ordered security to drag Olivia outside. The baby had screamed the moment Bianca tried to take her. Now, the little girl rested against Olivia, her cries softening into trembling breaths. Dante looked at Bianca. There was no anger on his face. Anger would have been kinder. His expression was calm, distant, and terrifying. Bianca glanced down at the ring on the floor. Dante, she whispered. He walked past her. Every man in the room moved aside. Dante stopped in front of Olivia. His black suit was perfectly fitted. His dark hair was swept back, and his eyes carried the cold patience of a man who had watched enemies beg without feeling anything. Yet when he looked at the baby, something inside him changed, only for a second, only enough for Olivia to notice. The child had stopped crying. Her tiny fingers were curled around a fold of the blue dress. Dante lifted his gaze to Olivia. Did she hurt you? Olivia knew he was not asking about the baby. She could have lied. She could have protected Bianca to preserve the peace inside the mansion. She could have remembered that Bianca would soon become the wife of the most feared man in the city. Instead, Olivia answered quietly. She tried to take Alessia by force. A muscle moved in the side of Dante's jaw. Bianca stepped closer. This is absurd. The woman embarrassed me in front of our guests. Dante did not turn. You embarrassed yourself. Bianca went still. Whispers moved through the ballroom. Her father, Enzo Ricci, watched from beside the fireplace. His face remained pleasant, but his eyes hardened. Dante reached toward the child. Olivia instinctively tightened her hold. For one dangerous moment, neither of them moved. Dante looked at her hands, then he looked into her eyes. I am not taking her from you. His voice was low enough that only Olivia heard the meaning beneath it. He turned toward his security chief. Marco, a broad-shouldered man near the doors, stepped forward. Yes, sir. Escort Miss Ricci and her family from the property. Bianca stared at Dante. You cannot do this. I already did. Our engagement was announced tonight. Then tomorrow the newspapers can announce that it ended tonight. Her face changed. The elegance disappeared first. Then the smile. What remained was something bitter and frightened. You will destroy an alliance over a nanny. Dante finally faced her. No. His gaze moved toward the baby in Olivia's arms. I am ending an alliance because you showed me what you do when you believe the helpless cannot fight back. Bianca reached for his sleeve. Dante moved before she touched him. The withdrawal was small, but it struck harder than a public slap. Do not touch me, he said. Security surrounded the Ricci family. Enzo Ricci offered Dante a thin smile. You are making an emotional decision. Dante looked toward him. No. Enzo, I have finally stopped making a political one. The Ricci family walked through the ballroom beneath the eyes of everyone they had hoped to impress. Bianca paused at the doors. She looked at Olivia. The hatred in her eyes was no longer hidden. This is not over. Dante stepped between them. It is for you. The doors closed. Only then did Olivia realize how fast her heart was beating. Alessia had fallen asleep against her. Dante looked at the child, then at the ring on the marble floor. He did not pick it up. The engagement party ended 11 minutes later. By midnight, half of Chicago knew that Dante Marino had abandoned the daughter of Enzo Ricci because of a temporary nanny. By morning, someone tried to enter the nursery with a knife. Olivia woke to a sound she could not identify. It was not the baby. It was not thunder. It was the careful turn of a metal handle. She opened her eyes inside the small room adjoining the nursery. A narrow line of light showed beneath the door. Alessia slept in the next room. Olivia had insisted on remaining close to her after the party. The child had been restless for weeks, waking from sleep with frightened cries that no doctor could explain. The household believed the baby was grieving for her mother. Valentina Marino had died 4 months earlier when her car left a mountain road during a storm. Alessia had been found in the back seat without a serious injury. Dante had brought his niece into his home and replaced nearly the entire household staff. No one had explained why. Olivia had learned quickly that people inside the Marino mansion did not ask questions unless they were prepared to disappear. The nursery handle moved again. Olivia slipped out of bed. She did not turn on the lamp. She reached for the heavy wooden toy beside the wall and moved toward the door. The handle stopped. Silence settled over the rooms. Then the nursery window broke. Olivia rushed through the door. A masked man was climbing over the broken glass. Cold rain blew into the room. Alessia woke and screamed. The intruder landed beside the crib. Olivia did not think. She swung the wooden toy with both hands. It struck his shoulder. He turned toward her. The knife in his hand reflected the lightning outside. Olivia stepped between him and the crib. The man lunged. A gunshot shook the room. The intruder collapsed against the window frame. Dante stood in the doorway. He held a pistol at his side. 2 guards rushed past him and dragged the wounded man away from the crib. Dante crossed the room. Olivia expected him to examine the attacker. Instead, he went directly to her. "Where are you hurt? I am not." He looked at her arms and face. "You are bleeding." Olivia touched her cheek. A small piece of glass had cut her skin. "It is nothing." Dante's eyes darkened. "Someone entered my home, reached the nursery, and came within 2 feet of you and the child. It is not nothing." Alessia cried from the crib. Olivia moved toward her, but Dante caught her wrist. The touch stopped them both. His hand was warm and firm around her skin. It was the first time he had touched her. The air changed. Olivia became aware of his closeness, the scent of rain on his clothes, and the dangerous stillness beneath his controlled breathing. Dante seemed to notice the same things. His fingers loosened. He released her before the contact could become something neither of them understood. "Stay behind me. Alessia needs me. So do I." The words escaped him before he could stop them. Olivia stared at him. Dante looked toward the broken window. "I need you alive so you can tell me what happened." The correction came too late. They both knew it. Olivia lifted Alessia from the crib and held her close. The child calmed almost immediately. Dante watched them. There was no softness in his face, but there was hunger in his silence. Not physical hunger, something lonelier. The hunger of a man standing outside a locked room, afraid to admit he wanted to enter. Marco returned. The attacker carried no identification. The Eastern cameras were disabled 6 minutes before he entered. "An inside man," Dante said. "It appears so. Lock the mansion. Nobody leaves." Olivia looked at him. "The staff will be terrified." "They should be. That will not help you find the truth." Dante turned toward her. "Fear makes people careless. It also makes innocent people desperate. His eyes narrowed slightly. Most people in this house agree with me. I am not most people in this house. No, Dante said. You are becoming a problem. Olivia adjusted the blanket around Alessia. Then, fire me. A dangerous silence followed. Marco looked away, as though witnessing the conversation had become unsafe. Dante stepped closer. You believe I would let you walk outside after someone tried to enter this nursery? You do not own me. No. His gaze moved over her face. But someone believes hurting you will give them access to this child. Until I know why. You remain where I can protect you. Olivia almost laughed from disbelief. That sounds very similar to imprisonment. Call it whatever helps you sleep. I will not sleep at all while armed men stand outside my door. Then I will stand there myself. The answer was immediate. It unsettled both of them. Dante turned to Marco. Move Olivia and Alessia to the West Wing. Double the guards. Nobody enters without my permission. Olivia followed the guards from the damaged nursery. At the doorway, she glanced back. Dante stood alone beside the broken window. Rain touched his face. In his hand was the small silver bracelet Alessia had been wearing when the intruder arrived. A single word had been engraved on the inside. Daughter. Olivia had never seen it before. The West Wing had once belonged to Dante's mother. No one had entered it for years. The rooms were warmer than the rest of the mansion. Books lined the walls. Family photographs remained on a polished piano. A faded blanket lay across the back of a chair. Olivia saw a younger Dante in one picture. He stood beside Valentina beneath an old oak tree. He was perhaps 19. He was not smiling. But his sister had her arms around him, and he had allowed himself to lean toward her. Alessia stirred in Olivia's arms. She has his eyes. Olivia turned. Dante stood in the doorway. He had changed into a dark shirt, but there was dried rain along his hair. Your sister had beautiful eyes, Olivia said. Dante closed the door. Alessia did not inherit them from Valentina. The meaning took several seconds to settle. Olivia looked down at the child. What are you saying, Dante? Walked to the window. 4 months ago. After the accident, the hospital performed several blood tests. One result did not match the medical history Valentina had provided. Olivia waited. The child could not have been Valentina's biological daughter. Dante's face remained, turned toward the rain. I ordered another test, and it showed a strong possibility that Alessia is mine. Olivia felt the room shift around her. Your daughter? Possibly. You said she was your niece. That is what the world must continue to believe. Why? Because if she is my daughter, her mother was Elena Rossi. Olivia recognized the name. The Rossi family controlled part of the Eastern Harbor before a violent war shattered their organization 3 years earlier. Newspapers reported that Elena Rossi had vanished during the fighting. Dante continued. Elena and I were together in secret. Our families would have used the relationship to start a war. She disappeared before she could tell me she was pregnant. And Valentina raised the baby as her own. She protected her. Why did your sister never tell you? I do not know. The pain in his voice was almost invisible. Olivia heard it anyway. Maybe she was afraid. Of me. Of what would happen if your enemies learned that you had a daughter? Dante turned. My enemies already knew enough to murder my sister. You believe the accident was deliberate? The brakes were damaged. Olivia held Alessia tighter. The intruder tonight was not searching for money. No. He came for her. Or for something connected to her. Dante moved to a desk and placed the silver bracelet beneath a lamp. This was hidden inside the lining of the crib. Olivia examined it. Daughter. I have seen Valentina wear this. Where Olivia searched her memory. At the hospital, Dante went still. You knew my sister. Olivia realized her mistake. Only briefly. That was not the answer I asked for. His voice changed. The room seemed smaller. Olivia placed Alessia in the cushioned cradle beside the bed. Then she faced him. 3 years ago. I worked as an assistant in a private pediatric clinic. Valentina visited several times with a woman who called herself Elena Vale. They were frightened. I helped them arrange medical care without using their family names. Daunt came closer. You knew Elena was carrying my child. I did not know who the father was. Why did you never tell me that you knew them? Because your agency hired me to care for a baby. Nobody asked me about every patient I had ever met. His stare became colder. You recognized Alessia. Not immediately. She was a newborn the last time I saw her. When I arrived here, I thought the resemblance was a coincidence. And now, I think Valentina requested me. Dante said nothing. Olivia reached into her pocket and removed a small card. The nanny agency had given it to her with the employment documents. A handwritten note appeared on the back. For the woman who stayed when everyone else was afraid. Dante read the sentence. You kept this from me. I did not understand it. You should have brought it to me. You are a man surrounded by secrets, guns, and people who fear you. I did not know whether bringing it to you would protect Alessia or place her in greater danger. His jaw tightened. You believed I might hurt my own child. I did not know she was your child. You suspected. I suspected everyone, including me, especially you. The honesty struck him harder than accusation. Dante stepped close enough that Olivia could see the faint scar near his temple. You are either very brave or very foolish. Those are not opposites. His gaze dropped briefly to her mouth. Olivia stopped breathing. He raised one hand. For a moment she believed he would touch the cut on her cheek. His fingers stopped inches from her skin. Then he lowered them. Pack what you need. Where are we going? Somewhere nobody knows exists. The safe house stood on a narrow stretch of shoreline 2 hours north of Chicago. Black pine trees surrounded the stone building. Waves struck the rocks below. The sky remained heavy with storm clouds. Dante arrived with Olivia, Alessia, Marco, and 6 guards before sunrise. The moment they entered, Dante collected every telephone and ordered the security team to search the property. Olivia carried Alessia upstairs. She found a bedroom prepared with a crib, warm blankets, bottles, and clothes in several sizes. Someone expected a baby, she said. Dante stood behind her. I had the room prepared after the hospital test. You have known for 4 months. I have suspected for 4 months. But you never held her at night. His expression hardened. She needed stability. She needed you. She had Valentina. Then Valentina died. Dante looked away. Olivia understood. He was not avoiding Alessia because he felt nothing. He was avoiding her because he felt too much. If he accepted the child as his daughter, he would also have to accept that his sister had died protecting her. He would have to love someone his enemies could take from him. Olivia placed Alessia in the crib. Children do not wait until adults are ready. Dante looked at the sleeping child. I do not know how to be what she needs. Neither does anyone at first. You make it look easy. It is not easy. Alessia trusts you. Because when she cries, I come back. Dante's eyes shifted toward Olivia. Is that all trust requires? It is where trust begins. He remained in the room after Olivia went downstairs. An hour later, she returned and found him seated beside the crib. Alessia was awake. Her tiny hand had closed around one of his fingers. Dante had not moved. The most feared man in Chicago looked trapped by a child who weighed less than 20 pounds. Olivia leaned against the doorway. She will release you eventually. He glanced at her. That is not what concerns me. What does that? She might not reach for me again. Olivia crossed the room and sat on the other side of the crib. Then stay when she does. Dante looked at her. Something unspoken passed between them. It frightened Olivia more than the gunshot had. The following days changed the rhythm between them. Dante conducted business from a locked office. Men arrived in black vehicles and left with tense faces. Calls from politicians went unanswered. Ricci warehouses were searched by police after anonymous evidence reached several federal departments. Chicago waited for a war. Inside the safe house, Olivia tried to create a small world where Alessia could remain untouched by it. She fed the baby near the windows. She read stories beside the fireplace. She sang quietly during storms. Dante appeared more often than necessary. At first, he claimed he was checking security. Then he stopped offering explanations. He watched Olivia prepare bottles. He learned how to support Alessia head. He discovered that walking slowly across the room helped her sleep. One night, Olivia found him in the kitchen wearing a white shirt with the sleeves rolled to his forearms. He held a bottle in one hand and stared at the instructions on a container of baby formula. "You look offended," Olivia said. "The measurements are unnecessarily complicated. They are 2 lines. They are badly designed." Olivia moved beside him. Dante did not step away. Their shoulders nearly touched. She showed him how to prepare the bottle. He watched her hands. But she had the unsettling feeling that he was not thinking about the formula. "You were engaged to Bianca for 8 months," she said. Dante poured the water. 7 months and 19 days. "You counted. I count every mistake." Olivia looked at him. "Did you love her?" "No." The answer held no hesitation. "Then why marry her?" The Ricci family controls judges, construction contracts, and access to the Southern rail lines. Marriage would have ended a conflict that has killed 32 men in 2 years. "So you were sacrificing yourself for peace." Dante gave her a cold glance. "Do not make me sound noble. What should I call it? Strategy. You were going to spend your life beside someone you did not trust. Trust was not required. It is required for marriage. Not in my world." Olivia folded her arms. "Then your world is broken." His eyes settled on her. "You speak as though yours is not. Mine is damaged. There is a difference." Dante placed the bottle on the counter. "Who damaged it?" Olivia regretted the words that had invited the question. "Nobody important." "That is not an answer. It is the only one you are receiving." Dante moved closer. "You know almost every secret that could destroy me. And you know almost nothing about me. I know you do not retreat when threatened. I know you hide fear beneath anger. I know you touch the back of your neck when you are exhausted." Olivia's hand froze halfway toward her neck. Dante noticed. His voice lowered. "I know you sing the same song every time Alessia wakes from a nightmare. I know you leave the hallway light on because darkness makes you remember something you refuse to discuss. I know you check every window twice before sleeping." He was close now. Too close. Olivia felt the heat of him. "You have been watching me. I watch every threat inside my territory." "Am I a threat?" His gaze moved slowly over her face. "I have not decided." The kitchen door opened. Marco entered and stopped. Dante stepped back. Marco placed a file on the table. "We found the man who entered the nursery." Dante opened the file. His name was Samuel Price, former military. He worked private security for Enzo Ricci 3 years ago. Olivia felt cold. "Bianca sent him." "Possibly." Marco said, "There is more." Price received a payment from an account belonging to Heart Medical Services. Dante turned toward Olivia. The air in the kitchen changed instantly. "Heart Medical Services belong to your father," he said. Olivia looked at the file. "My father has been dead for 6 years. The account is active." "That is impossible." Dante's eyes became unreadable. "Take Alessia upstairs." "You think I was involved?" "Take her upstairs." "Olivia." She did not move. "Ask me directly." His restraint cracked. "Did you arrange the attack on my daughter?" "No." "Did your father work for the Rossi family? He treated anyone who came to his clinic?" Did he hide Elena? I do not know. Dante closed the file. Until I confirm your story, you will remain under guard. I was already under guard. Now you will not be alone with Alessia. The words cut deeper than Olivia expected. You believe I would hurt her. I believe evidence before I believe people. Even after everything I have done for her, especially after everything. Dante's voice remained controlled. But his eyes revealed something else. Fear. Not fear of Olivia. Fear that he had trusted her. Olivia looked toward the stairs. Alessia had become more than a child in her care. She had become the first person in years who needed Olivia without judging the shape of her body, the size of her clothes, or the quiet life she had built after losing her family. Now Dante was taking that bond away because a number appeared on a page. Olivia nodded. Then do not ask me to trust you again. She walked upstairs. Dante did not follow. By afternoon, another nanny had arrived. Olivia remained in a bedroom at the end of the hall with a guard outside. She could hear Alessia crying through the walls. The sound continued for 10 minutes. Then 20. Olivia sat on the edge of the bed, gripping her hands together. She would not beg. She would not allow Dante to accuse her and then use her love for the child against her. The crying grew weaker. Footsteps stopped outside. The door opened. Dante entered carrying Alessia. The child was red-faced and exhausted. Dante's expression was tight with helpless anger. Take her. Olivia stood. You said I was a threat. Take her. Olivia. She looked at him. Ask properly. Dante stared at her. No one spoke to him that way. Not his soldiers. Not politicians. Not men who had known him since childhood. Olivia waited. His voice lowered. Please. She took Alessia. The baby immediately buried her face against Olivia's chest. Dante watched the transformation. His shoulders eased, but shame remained in his eyes. Olivia walked to the window. Dante stayed near the door. The payment was not authorized by your father, he said. Olivia continued rocking the child. Someone reopened the account 2 years after his death. Marco traced the access to a financial office controlled by Ricci Holdings. You accused me before checking. Yes. You punished Alessia because you were afraid of trusting me. His jaw tightened. Yes. Olivia turned. The direct answer surprised her. Dante continued. I have survived because I assumed betrayal before loyalty. Every person I trusted has been used against me. I am not every person. I know. Do you? He moved closer. I knew the moment she started crying. Olivia's eyes burned. But she refused to let the tears fall. That is not enough. No. He looked at Alessia, then back at her. Tell me how to repair it. You cannot order trust to return. Then I will earn it. Do you even know how? No. His honesty disarmed her again. Dante raised his hand. This time, he touched the small cut on her cheek. His thumb moved lightly over the healing mark. The contact lasted only a moment. Yet Olivia felt it everywhere. Dante's breathing changed. His eyes lowered toward her lips. Then Alessia shifted between them. He stepped back as though the child had reminded him of a boundary. Marco's voice sounded from the hallway. We found Valentina's vehicle. Dante turned. The police returned it months ago. Not that vehicle. The original one. The car that had been removed from the mountain was not the car Valentina had driven from Chicago. Someone had exchanged it before the police investigation. The original vehicle had been hidden inside a warehouse near the old harbor. Inside the trunk, Marco's team found blood, a damaged telephone, and an envelope addressed to Olivia Hart. Dante wanted to open it. Olivia refused. Valentina had addressed it to her. They stood across from each other in the office while Marco placed the sealed envelope on the desk. It could contain a threat, Dante said. It could contain the truth. The truth is often a threat. Olivia picked it up. Dante caught her wrist. His grip was careful this time. Open it where I can see your hands. She looked at him. You still do not trust me. I trust you more than I trust what my sister may have placed inside that envelope. Olivia broke the seal. A small brass key fell onto the desk. There was also a letter. Olivia unfolded it. Her hands began to tremble as she read. Dante watched her face. Read it aloud. Olivia swallowed. Valentina's message was brief. Olivia, if this reaches you, then I failed to keep Alessia hidden. Elena trusted your father, and I trust you for the same reason. He saved us when every powerful man wanted to use the child. The baby belongs to Dante, but he must not learn the truth until Bianca Ricci can no longer reach her. Bianca knows who Alessia is. She arranged the attack that killed Elena. She wants to marry Dante, control his home, and make certain the child never becomes his legal heir. The key opens a deposit box beneath St. Catherine Church. Inside is proof of everything. Do not trust anyone who tells you the car accident was an accident. Protect Alessia. Help Dante become the father he is afraid to be. The room became silent. Dante took the letter. He read the final line twice. Olivia saw grief enter his face. It did not arrive as tears. It arrived as stillness. The kind of stillness that came before destruction. Elena is dead, he said. Valentina believes so. Bianca killed her. We do not know exactly what happened. Dante folded the letter. I will know before sunrise. He reached for his telephone. Olivia stepped between him and the desk. Do not start a war while Alessia is still in danger. The war started when they touched my family. And how many families will you destroy before you reach Bianca? His gaze hardened. Move. No. Marco shifted near the wall. Dante looked at Olivia with dangerous disbelief. You are standing between me and the woman who murdered the mother of my child. I am standing between you and a decision made while you are grieving. I am not grieving. That is what frightened men say when grief feels too much like weakness. His eyes flashed. Be careful. Olivia stepped closer. Valentina did not send me that letter so I could watch you become the weapon Bianca expected you to become. Dante's voice fell to a whisper. You have no idea what I am capable of becoming. Olivia's heart pounded. She was afraid of him. She also understood him. That was more dangerous. I think you are afraid I already know. For several seconds, nobody moved. Then Dante looked at Marco. Prepare the vehicles. We are going to St. Catherine Church. The abandoned church stood in the oldest part of the city. Its stone walls had been blackened by decades of smoke and winter. Broken statues watched over empty pews. Rain entered through cracks in the stained glass windows. Dante brought 10 armed men. Olivia brought Alessia because she refused to leave the child at the safe house after learning that one of the guards had once worked for Ricci Holdings. Dante argued with her for 20 minutes. Olivia won. The deposit boxes were hidden beneath the church floor. The key opened a narrow door behind the altar. Stone steps led to a forgotten chamber filled with dust and cold air. Dante went first. Olivia followed with Alessia secured against her chest. At the bottom, they found a metal box. Inside were photographs, medical records, bank transfers, and a small recording device. Dante pressed the button. Valentina's voice filled the chamber. Dante, I am sorry. He stopped breathing. The recording continued. Elena came to me because she was pregnant and afraid. She loved you. But she believed your enemies would kill the baby before allowing a Rossi child to inherit the Marino Empire. I helped her disappear. When Alessia was born, Elena wanted to tell you. Bianca discovered the truth. She offered Elena safe passage out of Chicago. But it was a trap. Elena was killed near the harbor. I took Alessia and claimed she was mine. I wanted to tell you every day, but Bianca threatened to expose the child unless I supported the marriage alliance. I pretended to obey while collecting proof against her. If you are hearing this, she found me. Dante placed one hand against the metal table. Valentina's voice softened. Do not blame yourself. Do not turn your pain into another war. Alessia needs a father, not an empire built from revenge. Olivia's father helped Elena during the pregnancy. Olivia has the same courage. Trust her if she is willing to stay. You are always better than the world allowed you to become. The recording ended. Dante stood motionless. Olivia wanted to go to him. She stopped herself. His grief belonged to him. Then Alessia reached toward Dante. Her tiny hand opened and closed. Dante looked at his daughter. Olivia stepped closer. He took Alessia from her. The child rested one hand against his face. Dante closed his eyes. For the first time since Olivia had met him, the feared Mafia boss looked unguarded. Not weak. Human. Olivia placed her hand over his. Dante opened his eyes. There was pain in them. There was also something more frightening. Need. He leaned toward her. Their foreheads almost touched. Olivia felt his breath. Dante lifted his hand toward her face. Gunfire erupted above them. The moment shattered. Dante pulled Olivia behind the metal table and covered her with his body. Alessia screamed between them. Marco's voice echoed from the stairs. Ricci men entered through the eastern doors. Dante drew his weapon. Stay here. Olivia grabbed his sleeve. Do not leave us. He looked at her hand, then at her face. I will come back. You cannot promise that. Watch me. He rose and moved toward the stairs. The battle above lasted less than 6 minutes. To Olivia, it felt endless. Gunshots shook dust from the ceiling. Men shouted. Glass shattered. Alessia cried against Olivia's chest. Then silence descended. Footsteps approached the chamber. Olivia lifted a fallen piece of metal. Dante appeared at the bottom of the stairs. Blood marked the shoulder of his white shirt. But he remained standing. Olivia rushed toward him. You are hurt. It is not mine. She did not believe him. Dante looked at Alessia first. Then his attention returned to Olivia. His hand closed around the back of her neck. For one suspended second, he seemed close to pulling her against him. Instead, he stopped. His thumb moved beneath her hair. I told you I would return. Before Olivia could answer, Marco came down the stairs. Bianca was not with them. One attacker carried a message. He handed Dante a telephone. A video played on the screen. Bianca sat inside Dante's mansion. She wore black. Behind her stood 2 armed men. You embarrassed me, she said. You destroyed an alliance in front of people who will remember my humiliation for the rest of their lives. Now I will take everything you chose over me. The camera moved. Dante's housekeeper knelt on the floor. Beside her was the new nanny who had been sent away from the safe house that morning. Bianca continued. Bring the evidence from the church to the engagement gala at the Grand Aurelia tomorrow night. Bring Olivia and the child. Come without your army, or the next video will be less polite. The screen went black. Dante crushed the telephone in his hand. Olivia looked at him. It is a trap. Yes. You cannot bring Alessia. I will not. Bianca expects all 3 of us. She will see all 3 of us. Olivia understood. You are planning to use us as bait. Dante's gaze turned cold. I am planning to end this. The Grand Aurelia had once been the most luxurious hotel in Chicago. The Ricci family purchased it during the war and transformed the upper floors into private offices, guarded apartments, and rooms where business agreements were signed without witnesses. The gala was scheduled to celebrate a new international charity foundation. Everyone knew it was truly a demonstration of Ricci power. Politicians arrived in expensive vehicles. Television crews gathered outside. Bianca intended to appear in public after the broken engagement and show the city that the Ricci family remained untouchable. She did not know Dante controlled the building security system. He had installed access years earlier while preparing for the marriage alliance. The plan required Olivia to enter through the main doors, carrying a bundle designed to resemble a sleeping child. The real Alessia would remain in an armored vehicle with Marco several blocks away. Dante would walk beside Olivia. His men would enter through service tunnels. At the ballroom, Dante would trade the evidence for the hostages. Then the Ricci security network would be disabled. Olivia listened to the plan inside a dark hotel room across the street. "No," she said. Dante looked up from the building map. "No, Bianca has watched me hold Alessia. She will know the bundle is not a child the moment she sees how I carry it. We can conceal the face. She will demand proof." Dante, expression hardened. "I will not bring my daughter into that building. Neither will I." "Then what are you suggesting?" Olivia pointed toward the map. "Bianca believes she understands me. She thinks humiliating me made me desperate for dignity. She expects me to stand beside you because I want the world to see that you chose me over her." Dante's eyes narrowed. "You do not. I do not need a ballroom to prove my value." Something warm entered his expression. It vanished quickly. "Continue. Let me enter alone." "No. She wants me more than she wants the evidence." "Why?" "Because I was there when her control over you ended. Every time she looks at me, she remembers the ring hitting the floor." Dante folded the map. "You will not enter alone. You said every person in that ballroom fears you. Bianca will watch you. She will watch your hands, your guards, and every door behind you. She will not watch the woman she considers beneath her." Dante stood. "That woman is the only person in this city I cannot afford to lose." The room went silent. He had said it calmly. That made it more powerful. Olivia looked at him. Dante seemed to realize what he had admitted. His face closed. Olivia crossed the room. "You do not get to say something like that and then hide behind silence." He looked down at her. "I am not hiding." "Then tell me what it means." His eyes moved across her face. "It means I have spent every hour since the engagement trying to decide whether keeping you close protects you or makes you easier for my enemies to reach. And there is no safe answer." "That is not what I asked." Dante stepped closer. "It means I hear Alessia cry when you leave a room. It means I have begun listening for your footsteps in my home. It means every man who looks at you too long becomes someone I remember." Olivia's pulse quickened. "That sounds dangerous." "It is. For me. For everyone except you." His hand rose to her cheek. This time, he did not stop before touching her. His palm rested against her skin. Olivia leaned into it before she could prevent herself. Dante's eyes darkened. He moved closer. Their lips were only inches apart. A knock sounded at the door. Dante closed his eyes briefly. When he stepped away, the loss of warmth felt immediate. Marco entered. "The vehicles are ready." Dante looked at Olivia. "You remain beside me tonight." "That is not a request." "No." "Then I am refusing." His expression became almost offended. Olivia picked up the map. "You hired a nanny." "Dante. You did not purchase obedience." "Against every expectation." The corner of his mouth moved. It was not a smile. It was the memory of one. "You enjoy testing my patience. I enjoy discovering whether you have any." The brief warmth disappeared as quickly as it came. Dante turned toward Marco. "Change the plan." Olivia entered the Grand Aurelia through the kitchen. She wore the same pale blue dress from the engagement party. Dante had objected. Olivia insisted. Bianca had humiliated her in that dress. Tonight, she would see Olivia walking through her empire without lowering her head. A catering cart concealed the evidence box beneath folded linen. Olivia moved through the service hall, while Bianca's speech echoed from the ballroom speakers. Across the building, Dante entered through the main doors in a black suit. Every camera turned toward him. Guests moved away. Enzo Ricci greeted him near the center of the ballroom. "You came without an army," Enzo said. Dante looked around the room. "I did not need one." Bianca descended the staircase. She wore the silver gown from the broken engagement. The message was deliberate. So was the ring on her finger. It was not the ring Dante had dropped. It was a copy. Bianca stopped in front of him. "Where is the nanny?" Dante's expression did not change. "Safe. And the child? Beyond your reach." Bianca smiled. "Then your housekeeper and employee will die." Dante looked toward a glass balcony above the ballroom. The two hostages were brought forward. Olivia watched from a service door. She saw Bianca guards near the stairs. She saw Enzo's hand resting inside his jacket. She also saw a maintenance panel behind the bar. The building controls. Olivia pushed the catering cart into the ballroom. Bianca noticed her. For the first time that night, her confidence broke. "Olivia." The crowd turned. Cameras followed. Olivia stopped beneath the chandelier. The blue dress stood out among the black suits and glittering gowns. Dante looked at her. Anger flashed in his eyes. She had changed the plan again. She had entered before his men were ready. Olivia placed her hands on the cart. "You wanted me here." Bianca walked toward her. "Where is the baby?" "Somewhere you will never reach her." Bianca slapped Olivia. The sound moved through the ballroom. Olivia's head turned from the impact. She slowly faced Bianca again. Television cameras captured everything. Bianca realized her mistake. Olivia spoke clearly. "You mocked me because you believed my appearance made me powerless. You threatened a child because you believed wealth made you untouchable. Tonight the entire city will see what you become when nobody obeys you." Bianca grabbed the linen from the cart. The evidence box appeared. Her expression sharpened. "Give it to me. Release the hostages." Dante moved closer. Enzo's men raised their weapons. Dante stopped. Bianca opened the box. It was empty. Her face changed. "Where is the evidence already delivered to every newspaper, prosecutor, and family represented in this room?" Olivia said. The guests began checking their telephones. Files appeared across hundreds of screens. Bank transfers, medical records, images from the harbor. Valentina, recording. Enzo reached for his weapon. The ballroom lights went out. Screams erupted. Emergency lights glowed red along the walls. Dante moved through the darkness. He reached Olivia before anyone else. His arm wrapped around her waist and pulled her behind a stone column. Gunfire struck the wall. "Stay down," he ordered. "The hostages are upstairs. Marco has them." A shadow moved near the balcony. Dante fired once. The shadow disappeared. Olivia looked toward the service corridor. Bianca was running. "She is going to the control room." Dante called into his radio. "Marco, lock the eastern hall." Only static answered. The security network had been disrupted. Olivia ran. Dante caught her arm. "Where are you going?" "Bianca has a second exit beneath the kitchen. I saw it on the map." "You are not following her. She may have someone waiting near Alessia." Dante froze. That possibility changed everything. They moved through the service hall together. Behind them, armed men exchanged fire in the ballroom. Guests hid beneath tables. Police sirens approached from the streets below. Bianca reached the underground garage first. A black vehicle waited near the exit. Enzo Ricci sat behind the wheel. Olivia and Dante appeared at the bottom of the stairs. Bianca raised a pistol. Dante pushed Olivia behind him. Enzo started the engine. "Bianca, I meet at Dante. You chose her over peace," she said. Dante stood perfectly still. There was never peace with you. I could have given you everything. You tried to take the only things that mattered. Bianca looked toward Olivia. Her Dante answer came without hesitation. My daughter, the truth about my sister. Bianca laughed bitterly. You think a nanny belongs beside you? Olivia stepped from behind Dante. I do not need to belong beside him to stand against you. Bianca turned the weapon toward Olivia. Dante moved instantly. The shot struck the concrete wall. He knocked the weapon from Bianca's hand and forced her against the vehicle. Enzo accelerated. The car moved toward them. Olivia pulled Bianca aside before the vehicle struck her. Dante dragged Olivia behind a pillar. The car crashed through the garage barrier and disappeared onto the street. Police vehicles surrounded it seconds later. Bianca struggled beneath Dante's grip. Why did you save me? She shouted at Olivia. Olivia looked at her. Because I will not become cruel simply because you were cruel to me. Dante stared at Olivia. The fury inside him did not disappear. It changed direction. Instead of destroying Bianca, he handed her to the approaching officers, along with the evidence that would keep her in prison. Enzo Ricci was arrested before dawn. The files from St. Catherine Church exposed years of bribery, murder, financial crimes, and manipulation inside the Ricci organization. Several officials resigned. 3 judges were charged. The alliance that had protected the Ricci family collapsed in less than 48 hours. Dante could have taken their territory. He did not. He closed the most violent operations near the harbor and transferred several legal businesses into a trust for Alessia. Chicago did not believe he had become merciful. Olivia knew better. Dante was not becoming soft. He was becoming deliberate. There was a difference. 3 days after the gala, Olivia returned to the Marino mansion. The broken nursery window had been replaced. The engagement decorations were gone. Workers had removed the silver banners and flowers from the ballroom. The ring still rested inside a small evidence bag on Dante's desk. Olivia placed her suitcase near the front door. Dante came down the staircase carrying Alessia. He had learned how to hold her. The child rested comfortably against his chest. You are leaving, he said. It was not a question. My contract ended yesterday. I can extend it. I am not asking about employment. Dante stopped several feet away. Then what are you asking? Olivia looked around the mansion. I cannot live inside a locked house where every act of protection feels like control. I can change the security rules. This is not about doors. His expression tightened. Then explain it. You still believe you can solve fear by controlling everything around you. You cannot. Alessia will grow. She will make choices you dislike. She will trust people you do not understand. You cannot imprison everyone she loves. Dante looked at her suitcase. Is that what you believe I am doing to you? Sometimes, his eyes darkened with pain. Olivia continued. You asked me to teach you how trust begins. It begins when someone is free to leave and still chooses to return. Dante said nothing. She stepped closer to Alessia and kissed the child's forehead. The baby reached for her. Olivia nearly lost her resolve. Dante watched her struggle. Stay, he said. His voice was quieter than she had ever heard it. Olivia looked at him. Ask properly. Something moved in his expression. He remembered the safe house. He remembered standing outside the bedroom with a crying child in his arms. Dante lowered his pride. Please stay. As her nanny, no. The answer came with controlled intensity. Stay, because this house is empty when you are not inside it. Stay because Alessia looks for you every morning. Stay because I have spent my life believing dependence was weakness. And now the thought of losing you is the first fear I cannot defeat with money or violence. Olivia's eyes filled with tears. Dante came closer. I do not know how to offer you an ordinary life. I never asked for ordinary. I cannot promise that danger will disappear. Promise you will not become the danger. His gaze held hers. I promise I will never use your love as a cage. Olivia looked at Alessia, then back at Dante. That is not the same as asking me to stay because you love me. Dante became still. The feared man who could command hundreds of soldiers suddenly looked as though one word might destroy him. He shifted Alessia carefully to one arm. With his free hand, he touched Olivia's cheek. I loved you before I understood what was happening. Her breath caught. I loved you when you stood between an armed man and a crib. I loved you when you challenged me, while everyone else remained silent. I loved you when you protected Bianca from the punishment she deserved. Because your heart refused to resemble hers. His thumb moved beneath Olivia's eye. I fought it because loving you gave my enemies another weapon. And now, losing you would destroy more of me than any enemy could reach. Olivia placed her hand over his. Dante leaned toward her. He stopped before their lips touched. The restraint was a question. Olivia answered by closing the distance. The kiss was slow. It carried every interrupted moment, every glance across a dark room, and every confession they had refused to speak. Dante held her carefully, not as property, not as someone fragile, as someone precious who had chosen to remain. Alessia made a small sound between them. Olivia smiled against Dante's mouth. Dante looked down at his daughter. She has terrible timing. Olivia raised an eyebrow. She learned from you. For the first time, Dante Marino smiled completely. It transformed his face. The coldness did not disappear. The power remained. But Olivia finally saw the man Valentina had remembered. The man beneath the empire. 6 months later, snow-covered Chicago. The Marino mansion no longer felt like a museum built for ghosts. The West Wing was filled with toys, warm lamps, and the sound of Alessia learning to walk. Dante moved his office closer to the family rooms. He claimed the decision improved security. Nobody believed him. Olivia established a foundation in the name of Valentina and Elena. It offered legal protection and medical care to women and children escaping violent families. Dante funded it without placing his name on the building. When Olivia discovered what he had done, he said the donation was a strategic investment. She kissed him anyway. Bianca Ricci awaited trial in a guarded federal facility. Enzo had begun providing information against former allies to reduce his sentence. The Ricci Empire had ended. The Marino Empire remained. But its future had changed. One snowy evening, Olivia stood on the balcony outside the ballroom. Below her, black vehicles moved through the gates. Important guests had arrived for Alessia's first birthday. Olivia wore a deep blue gown. It followed the curves she had once been taught to hide. She no longer pulled at the fabric. She no longer wondered whether she belonged in rooms filled with wealth and power. Her worth had never depended on the room. Dante joined her. He wore a black suit and carried Alessia against his chest. The child had fallen asleep wearing a small white dress. Dante looked toward the ballroom. A year ago, I dropped a ring in that room. Olivia glanced at him. It was very dramatic. It was necessary. You could have simply ended the engagement in private. Bianca humiliated you in public, so you needed to defend me in public. Yes. Olivia smiled. You are still frighteningly intense. Dante handed Alessia to her. Then he reached into his coat. Olivia's eyes widened. He held a ring. It was not enormous or designed to impress a crowd. It was elegant and simple, with a dark blue stone surrounded by small diamonds. Dante did not kneel immediately. He looked at her with the same controlled seriousness he carried into every dangerous decision. I do not want you to answer because I protected you. Olivia remained silent. I do not want gratitude. I do not want obedience. I do not want a political wife who smiles beside me while fearing the man I become behind closed doors. Snow touched his dark hair. I want the woman who tells me when I am wrong. I want the woman who made my daughter feel safe before I knew how. I want the woman who walked into a room filled with enemies, wearing the same dress in which they tried to shame her. He lowered himself to one knee, through the glass doors. The ballroom became silent. Everyone watched. Dante ignored them. He looked only at Olivia. I cannot promise an easy life. I can promise that you will never face it alone. Marry me. Olivia Hart. Tears warmed her eyes. Alessia woke in her arms and reached toward Dante. Olivia looked down at the Chuppy girl, reflected faintly in the glass. The woman in that reflection was not hiding. She was not waiting to be chosen because another woman had rejected her. She was choosing her future, her family, the dangerous man who had learned that love was not ownership. Yes, Olivia said. Dante rose. He placed the ring on her finger. The ballroom erupted in applause. But the sound seemed distant. Dante touched her cheek. For several seconds, the city, the empire, and the people watching through the glass disappeared. There was only Olivia. There was only Alessia between them. There was only the man who had once believed love gave his enemies power. He now understood the truth. Love had not made him weaker. It had given him something worth becoming better for. Dante kissed Olivia beneath the falling snow. Inside the ballroom, the engagement ring from the previous year remained locked inside a glass display near the fireplace. Beneath it was a small silver bracelet engraved with one word, daughter. Dante had kept both objects as reminders. One represented the life he had almost accepted for power. The other represented the truth that had saved him from it. Outside, Olivia rested her forehead against his. Alessia placed one hand against each of their faces. Dante closed his eyes. For the first time in his life, the most feared man in Chicago was surrounded by everything he could not control. A woman who challenged him. A daughter who trusted him. A future built not from fear, but from choice. And for the first time, he wanted nothing more.